tough time of year. Brad and I kind of had our first discussions last night. We're going to continue here after this. So I'm not going to be able to give you any updates on that regard. Brad will speak to you. Brad and Ray will speak to you. I know Thursday is the plan once everything is set. But, just one more time, the appreciation we have for these guys that laid it on the line, gave everything they had. And, a number of these guys, man, the lost art of, your body doesn't feel good. You got the bumps and bruises, and for those guys that can continue to just push, those guys, it means a lot. It really does. Because that's what this game is. It's still a physical game, and you have to be able to put that stuff behind you and still produce. So, tough 48 hours coming out, but really appreciate these guys.
Is there any place in particular, position one or two, that you're finding is maybe more difficult? Not naming specific players or anything, but a position group where you and Brad are just going back and forth, maybe things change?
Not really. I feel like we're, for the most part, I think we're seeing things very much eye to eye, and I think there's things that he and I both are, let's sleep on this, as of last night, a couple of things. I don't want to get into what those positions are or who they are, but I would say I do feel like we're very much on the same page, and we're both very much, let's make sure we both feel this way when we wake up and then we talk later. So it's good. I mean, it's a good process. He and I, here we go, man, we're on year 4 of this. So, we got a pretty good feel of each other here.
The roster has evolved to the point where you can't just be a special teams player. You have to have some other value. And I know special teams are still important to some of those spots, a lot of those spots. Can you just maybe speak to that discussion, I guess, like how do you, distinguish between what a guy can do on defense and what you need from him on special teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're, ultimately, I look at, man, the guy's going to the game, so how much is he playing? There's value there. How many snaps are we going to get? So if you're strictly special teams and you're a backup position player, you're a backup corner, safety, well, I know you're going to play 25, 30 plays. If you're a core guy, that's a lot. You can touch the game. I mean, you have an impression on the game, and we're not even talking about your position on defense or offense. So that has a bearing, but yet if you feel like you're maybe we've got injuries or we're a little bit light in an area, then all of a sudden the priority has to be more defense than special teams at that time. Ideally, you want, you like the young, promising upside of a player in a position group that you feel like brings value to special teams because they can grow, right? They'll only get better in that position. So, I think you got to take it as it is in each position group. Where are you at? Where's the depth? Is anybody injured? And can the kid continue to grow?
Fixated on the wide receiver battle all camp, and I know you've said you've waited for a guy to kind of step up and grab that brass ring, if you will. We get in the habit of practice watching the ball. We don't get to see all the film. Where have some of those guys maybe stood out where we've kind of missed some of the nuance with them?
Well, look, DPJ. First of all, DPJ and Fountain both, man, they're big guys, right? They are big receivers. They got length to them, and for their size, they can run pretty good. So there's that element of that. Can you play big boy ball outside red zone? That comes into play, and so if you don't have it, sometimes you feel, you do feel a little small. You feel like it would be nice to have the size, and so you wish that would show up a lot more. But that's what those two guys bring. That's that type of flavor that we talk about all the time. You would love to have a little bit of everything. You've got speed, you got quickness, you got the size, you got your gadget, you got, and so that's kind of them. You guys know what 83 is. I mean, it's shown up. I mean, the guy's, he's made plays all camp. He's really kind of more of that slot, but he falls into the mode a little bit like St. Leaf Tom Kennedy, they're all kind of in that, So, I think that's where it is. And that's what Brad and I are having to weigh here, is there enough, have we seen enough out of those guys to where we feel like we can use them or need to use them sooner than later? Or will they provide value depth or role players, The other thing is special teams. How much do they bring in on special teams? I don't know. It's tough to say. So it'll all come into play.
Dan, I mean, if you don't have that, if you don't have a guy that you can throw a back shoulder ball to or can trust a high point to football, does that limit your Ben's schematics in any way?
No, I don't believe that. I mean, we will always be able to, with what we've got on this roster. Ben does a hell of a job of making sure that we put guys in position to have success. And man, let our guys go win and whatever it takes to allow them to do that. So, no, I wouldn't say it limits us. But like any offense or defense, man, give us everything, right? If you can have it all, then you can use it all. But no, it's not going to limit what we do. It would be a luxury to have. It helps. And I think a lot of it is it comes into those one-on-ones, to where, okay, you don't always have to be in these cut splits, man. You can just get out there and it's one-on-one. And if you like the matchup, who cares if he's pressed? Our guy's going to beat your guy. And Goff put it in a position where he can play rebound. He can play big boy. He's in the box and down on the block and is going to make a play for you.
Quarterbacks, what is your they all have very limited experience. What is your confidence level if they had to step in game one right away? Goff goes down early to take over for Goff, still operate the offense successfully, and then even maybe start the next game.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think honestly, I feel like, and this includes Fromm. I mean, they've all shown something a little bit different. I mean, look, let's start with Hooker. You want to know, like plain and simple. It's hard for me to just jump right in let's just jump right in and say, man, you feel great at number 2. I think of him as, is he growing? Like literally, that's where my mind goes first. Is he growing? Is he developing? Yes, he is. He got better. All right, because he got reps. All right, that's good. Nate, for the most part, has done what we've asked him to do. There's a couple of decisions here and there, but we know what he is. He's been around the system now going on 3 years. And then Fromm, like we said, comes in 8 days, doesn't get any practice reps, and functions like a high-level quarterback, with limited snaps. So it's hard to ignore that. And so to answer your question, yeah, I would feel comfortable. We'll find a way to get out of the game. That's why you play with 3 phases. So we'll find a way to do what we need to do, and then we'll go into the next week and set it up to where we'll be able to have success and play a certain way if we have to.
Guys who you guys were hoping to get back yesterday, Gibbs, Laporta, Zeitler, were there any surprises on that front?
No, not negative surprise, not a positive surprise. No, everybody was out there that we talked about, that I mentioned. Man, it was good to have them out there too. We got them out. It was about an hour. We let them compete against each other, a couple of team periods, individuals, so guys can get worked in. And it was just kind of pushing their heart rate a little bit, but it was good. It was just to see like Laporta out there, part of the flow, and Gibbs, and Rodrigo's worked in, Zeitler's out there. It was and Reeder. That's our first. Even though it's walked through an Indy, just to have him out there, and he is a big man. He's a big man. He and Mac over there together. Mac's going to need to do more squats. All right, if he wants to keep up with Reeder. So. Anyway, it's a good-looking crew, and it's good to have all our guys working together. Arnold was back out there, CD, Rake. It feels good.
Is this Reeder, how likely is week 1 for him? Are you targeting after?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I would love to say we're targeting that. We're just going to take it as it comes. We'd always said long-term that we were kind of shooting for Tampa. But our eyes are open, and we're going to pay close attention and see how he does, how he feels, and kind of go from there if it's sooner.
John and Tim.
Yeah, I was just then curious based on what you said to Carlos, then is it safe to say then today that Nate's still a little bit ahead of Pendant on that chart?
Yeah, I think it's hard to answer that because there again, they both bring something different, you know, and you could easily say one of them gets you out of a game and the other one starts for you if something happened the next week. And, you know, so, I mean, you're going to use all those guys, I guess is the best way to say it. So,